Okay, dear students. So, in the last class, we have started classical theory of income and market establishes equilibrium with the flexibility of real wage rate, the movement of real wage rate. This also we have discussed in detail in the last class. So now we will move on to the goods market equilibrium. Okay, goods market equilibrium is there on the right hand side. You can see the in investment and saving equality, right? Goods market equilibrium under classical theory is analyzed with the help of investment and saving equality, right? So the goods market is in equilibrium when the goods market is in equilibrium according to classical economics, when saving equals investment. And how savings and investment equalizes, that is equalized with the mechanism of flexibility of rate of interest. I'll show you here. As I told you, the classists believe that whatever is saved, that is automatically invested, right? What is not spent, that means whatever income you earn, if you don't consume, you save it, and whatever you save it, that is automatically invested. That is the belief of classical economists, right? And they have the belief that this saving and investment equality is maintained by the flexibility of rate of interest. Why? Because saving is the function of rate of interest, investment is also function of rate of interest. That means saving depends on rate of interest, investment also depends on rate of interest. That is the belief of classical economists, my dear student. Okay, classical economists believe so. We will see in criticism how they were not correct. Okay, so here we will just see how this equilibrium is established in the goods market. So you can see here, starting with this or is the interest rate at which the saving and investment both are equal at point E, this point E. Okay, and again I'll just mention here, this the y-axis we have interest rate, and on x we have capital. Okay, saving and investment capital both are there on x-axis. So when the rate of interest is OR, okay, I'm repeating OR, then at this point you can see saving and investment both are equal. They are intersecting each other at point E. So you can write here also S is equal to I here. Both are equal. Okay, but somehow if there is increase in rate of interest from OR to OR1, it increases, suppose. Okay, it rate of interest increases from OR to OR1. So your investment will be at point A, this much, R1A, and your saving will be R1B. That means this much of capital will remain uninvested, or they will be lying idle. Okay, that means the investment is less and saving of capital is more. Okay, in the capital supply is more, investment is less, right? So there will be unemployment in the economy. Yeah, what I was telling you, this saving and investment equality is established at this point E. Saving is equal to investment. And when interest increases from OR to OR1, the investment will be less than saving. You can write here like this. Investment is less than saving. That means there is unemployment, there is some capital which is lying idle. Okay, So when investment is less, when there is unemployment of capital, then automatically, this rate of interest will be forced to come down. Whatever you have saved, there is no taker. There is no one to use it. So automatically the rate of interest will come down. And when the rate of interest comes down, then at lower rate of interest, investment will increase. There will be movement from A to E. And similarly, saving this, there will be movement from B to E. And again, the equilibrium between saving and investment will be re-established, right? Equilibrium between saving and investment will be re-established with the movement of both investment and saving in the goods market. Okay, this is the first upper part analysis you can see. Okay, then we will see if somehow, if rate of interest in the market goes down from the equilibrium, instead of OR, if it is OR2, right? It is not OR, it is OR2. Then at a lower rate of interest, you can see the saving is at C, whereas investment is at D. That means there is more demand for capital in the market. There are more people willing to invest at the lower rate of interest. But at a lower rate of interest, there are less people willing to save. So there is a gap here. You can call it here, the saving is less than investment in this situation. You know, the saving is less, investment is more. So when there is a need of more capital and capital is less, at that time the rate of interest will be forced to move up. There will be upper movement because of more demand of capital investment in the market. And as and when this rate of interest moves up, the saving also slowly tend to move up. And when rate of interest slowly moves up, in the same way the investment will also come down, investment will reduce, because you see, investment is indirectly, I'm repeating, investment is indirectly related with rate of interest. Lower the rate of interest, more will be the investment, and more the rate of interest, lower will be the investment. You can see here, higher rate of interest, investment is at A only, you can see A. Whereas when rate of interest is R2, investment is at D, which is much higher than A. Okay. Similarly, when the saving is directly related with rate of interest. When rate of interest is low, saving will be low. Less and less number of people will be willing to save. And when rate of interest is more, more and more people will be willing to save, right? So this is the correlation as per the classical economists. So as I told you, I'll repeat quickly here. You can see what is the equilibrium point, students. Equilibrium point is at E, where saving and investment both are equal and rate of interest is OR. But somehow if rate of interest increases to R1, then investment will be less than saving at this point. Why? Because rate of interest is more. At higher rate of interest, investment will be less, but saving will be more. So there will be unemployment of capital, and this unemployment force savers to save less, because there is no takers in the market. So this rate of interest will be forced to come down. There will be downward movement here, tendency to down. Once it will reach here, but again it will tend to go down, because investment will be less and saving will be more at a higher rate of interest, and again they will reach to this equilibrium point, they will re-establish the equilibrium, right? But if it doesn't stop, the rate of interest doesn't stop at R, it goes down up to R2. At this situation, what will happen? The saving will be very, very low at point C, whereas investment will be at D. And that means saving will be less than इन्वेस्टमेंट. सिंपल लैंग्वेज में अगर बोले तो जो कम रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट होगा तो सेविंग जो लोग करेंगे वो कम करेंगे, और कम रेट में अगर फंड अवेलेबल है तो ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोग जो है वो बोरो करना चाहेंगे, वो इन्वेस्ट करना चाहेंगे. सिंपल लॉजिक है, राइट? तो ऐसे सिचुएशन में सेविंग इन्वेस्टमेंट का गैप हो जाएगा, सेविंग कम रहेगा और इन्वेस्टमेंट ज्यादा लोग करना चाह रहे हैं. ऐसी सूरत में क्या होगा? रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट जो है वो आगे बढ़ना शुरू हो जाएगा, उसकी टेंडेंसी ऊपर की तरफ होगी, और अगेन जो है इक्विलिब्रियम ई पॉइंट पे स्टैब्लिश हो जाएगा जब रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट R2 से मूव होके R पे पहुंच जाएगा, राइट? सिमिलरली हायर इंटरेस्ट रेट पे भी होगा. जब रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट बहुत ज्यादा होता है तो सेवर्स ज्यादा हो जाते हैं, ज्यादा लोग इंटरेस्टेड होते हैं कि सेव करें, एंड बट हायर रेट पे, रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट पे इन्वेस्टमेंट और बोरोइंग जो है इन्वेस्टर्स कम करना चाहेंगे क्योंकि कॉस्ट ऑफ कैपिटल जो है वो हायर होगा. तो उस टाइम में ये गैप क्रिएट हो जाएगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट कम रहेगा, सेविंग ज्यादा रहेगा, और सेविंग ज्यादा हो गया तो फिर जो है देयर विल बी टेंडेंसी ऑफ रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट टू कम डाउन. तो रेट ऑफ इंटरेस्ट फिर नीचे की तरफ पुल हो जाएगा और फिर इक्विलिब्रियम established हो जाएगा. So this is how, goods market equilibrium is established in the classical model. Okay, is this clear, students?
Yes, sir.
Okay, moving on to now money market equilibrium. Money market equilibrium. Let us see here what is their money market equilibrium. How money market, or how according to classical economists, what role money plays in the real market or in the overall income and employment determination. Okay, so money market is based on quantity theory of money. Fisher's quantity theory equation is there, that is mv is equal to pt. Where m is money supply, v is velocity of circulation of money, P is the price level, and T is the volume of transaction or total output. लेकिन क्लासिस्ट और क्वांटिटी थेरिस्ट बिलीव करते हैं कि ये V जो है, V is more or less constant and T is also constant because technology change is also constant. Velocity, which depends on institutional and technological factor, that is constant. So price will be simply the function of money supply. Price up down जो होगा वो money supply के वजह से होगा. ओके, ज्यादा मनी सप्लाई हो गया तो प्राइस इंक्रीज हो जाएगा, मनी सप्लाई कम हो गई तो प्राइस डिक्रीज हो जाएगा, राइट? सो दिस फिलॉसफी इज बेस्ड ऑन द क्वांटिटी थ्योरी ऑफ मनी. ये क्वांटिटी थ्योरी इक्वेशन है आपका, mv is equal to pt, जैसा बताया हमने. Same thing is shown here in this diagram. You can see this as is the aggregate supply line, and this AD naught and AD1, these are demand line. This AD naught and AD1 can also be, it is equivalent to this MV. You can write here MV. MV is the money supply, okay? MV. You can write MV1, say for example, this is AD1. When the money supply, since this is constant, so at M level of money supply, the price is OP1. प्राइस कितना है? OP1 है. मनी सप्लाई जो है M है, M लेवल पे है, और इक्विलिब्रियम, दिस इज वन इक्विलिब्रियम पॉइंट, राइट? This is the equilibrium point where aggregate supply is equal to aggregate demand. क्योंकि क्लासिकल इकोनॉमिक्स जो है इसका एनालिसिस ऐसे सिचुएशन में ये बिलीव करते हैं कि देयर इज ऑलवेज फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट, और जब फुल एम्प्लॉयमेंट होगा तो ये लेवल ऑफ आउटपुट जो है उनका फिक्स रहेगा, ओ वाई एफ लेवल पे होगा, ये चेंज नहीं होगा यहाँ पे, राइट। जितना भी है ये एम्प्लॉयमेंट पे डिपेंड करेगा, आउटपुट जितना एम्प्लॉयमेंट होगा उतनी जो है आउटपुट होगी। तो ए एस और ए डी इक्वलाइज कर रहा है दिस ई पॉइंट पे, राइट। और मनी सप्लाई, जितनी मनी सप्लाई होगी उस लेवल में प्राइस होगा। जैसा यहाँ देखो, प्राइस इज द फंक्शन ऑफ एम, प्राइस डिपेंड्स ऑन सप्लाई ऑफ मनी, जितनी मनी सप्लाई होगी उसके हिसाब से प्राइस प्रिवेल करेगा मार्केट में। somehow they say that if there is increase in aggregate demand, increase in aggregate demand means if there is increase in money supply, this m becomes say m2, it increases, right, it increases from m to m2, right, so because of this increase in money supply, AD curve shifts, AD naught shifts to AD1, AD1 पे आ गया आपका aggregate supply, that is vertical, that is perfectly inelastic, and it is intersecting at point E1, say it is E1. At E1 point, aggregate supply is equal to aggregate demand AD1. तो यहाँ पे देखो ये मनी सप्लाई जो इंक्रीज हुआ फ्रॉम एम टू M2, राइट, price level increases, you can see the movement, price increased from P1 to P2, price OP1 से बढ़ के P2 हो जा रहा है। लेकिन what about output? Is there any change in output? No, there is no change in output. So according to classical economists, they say that there will not be any change in the output with the change in money supply. Money is neutral, ठीक है, money is neutral, it doesn't affect the output in the economy, right, output में change नहीं होगा, इसकी वजह से सिर्फ क्या होगा, there will be rise in the price level, or because of that rise in price level the nominal wage rate may increase, nominal wage rate of people, workers may increase, but real wage rate will remain as it is। पैसे 100 के किसी को 100 मिल रहे 200 हो जाएंगे, प्राइस अकॉर्डिंगली बढ़ेगा, उनकी रियल परचेजिंग पावर विल रिमेन द सेम। व्हाई? बिकॉज यू कैन सी हियर दिस m increase to m2, right, demand increase because of supply of money, increase in money supply, but output remains constant, output is not changing, right, so at this level only price level changes। So this is how money market equilibrium is established because of this movement of money supply, right, so that is the belief of money, the classical economist, right। Should I repeat? Is there any question here, students? Is there any question, students? Hello, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
okay, fine.
Yes,
So
sir.
should I move to the next slide? Right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So we have seen in the previous slides, the labor market equilibrium, right? We have seen the goods market equilibrium. We have seen money market equilibrium, right? So classical economists believe in automatic adjustment of, these three markets with the flexibility of prices, with the flexibility of rate of interest, with the flexibility of wage rate. So wage rate, wages flexible, rate of interest flexible, price is flexible. So in simple term you can say that flexibility of wage rate or flexibility of prices automatically adjusts these three markets. So to summarize this, I want your attention. You can see the summary of classical model is shown in this diagram. This is your goods market equilibrium. Goods market, you can see goods market, this one. This A is related to goods market, right? This is your production function, okay? Production function, this one. This is our labor market equilibrium. Labor market equilibrium, okay? And here this is MV, as I shown to you just now. It is demand for money, equivalent to demand for money. So these two related to the money market equilibrium, okay? Money market, right? Now let us see this, all which we have already studied is combined, clubbed together in one diagram, okay? So you can see the goods market equilibrium. When there will be goods market equilibrium? When you have I is equal to S. And how this equality is established? With the flexibility of rate of interest, okay? If there is any deviation, any difference, any inequality between investment and saving, the flexibility of rate of interest will establish the equilibrium, okay? Now you can see this production function, the quantity of output that depends on number of people employed in the market. This OQ, right, level is determined with the employment of NF level of employment in the economy. And how this NF is determined? How this NF is determined? With the labor market equilibrium, okay? Labor market equilibrium is established with the flexibility of a real wage rate, okay? And how this is established? We have seen demand for labor is the decreasing function of wage rate, real wage rate, whereas supply of labor is increasing function of real wage rate. So once this, equality is established at this level, as L will be equal to DL, or you can call it DN also. That is not. So supply of labor, demand for labor, both are equal here at this point E. Somehow if there is inequality between these two, supply of labor and demand for labor, this wage rate, real wage rate, will adjust in such a way that the labor market will be in equilibrium. If there is excess supply, the wage rate will come down. If there is less supply, the wage rate will go up and labor market will be equilibrium. And whatever labor employment will be there, on that basis the output will be generated. If there is any deficiency in the investment, right, the deficiency of demand because of saving, that saving and investment equality will come with the rate of interest flexibility, okay? So this is the equality of labor market, goods market. Now the role of money market, how it is played? This real wage rate. What is real wage rate? Real wage rate is W upon P, right? Nominal wage divided by price level. And this is, as we have seen in the previous slide, how this P is determined, right? AD is equal to AS at a point that price is determined. And one more thing I want your attention here, on this axis X, you can see we have price level. Here we have on Y we have money wage. So this money wage and price level shows this, this line you can see, this is real wage rate. So with the increase in money, what changes? It is the money wage, right? Real wage rate is constant, the increase is there, the real buying capacity, real wage remains constant. Your money wage will increase. Similarly, there is increase in price level. The way money wage increase, similarly the price level increase. So price, suppose this is 10%, money wage increase is also 10%. So your real wage rate remains constant. That is not changing. So money plays neutral role according to classical economists, right? Classical economists believe that money plays the role of influencing price and the real wage rate, but it doesn't affect the real market, the goods market. Goods market is not affected with this. Okay, so this is how the classical economist propounded the income and employment determination with the simultaneous equilibrium of goods market with the equality of investment and saving, labor market equilibrium with the equality of supply of labor and demand for labor with the flexibility of real wage rate, and money market influences the real wage rate in such a way that the price change occurs because of money market equilibrium in such a way that the real wage rate remains constant. Okay, there might be change in money wage, the nominal wage, 100 का 200 हो जाएगा मनी वेज, ठीक है, लेकिन प्राइस लेवल भी इस तरह से बढ़ेगा कि आपका जो रियल परचेजिंग कैपेसिटी है वर्कर्स का वो एज इट इज रह जाती, वो चेंज नहीं होता है, ठीक है। तो इसकी वजह से जो है आपका इक्विलिब्रियम जो है लेबर मार्केट का वो रियल वेज रेट पे डिपेंड करेगा, ना कि मनी वेज पे डिपेंड करने वाला है, ठीक है। सो दिस इज हाउ we can analyze the classical model